Jocelyn,
Hello.
give you the floor. How you doing?
Good.
Yeah?
It's a beautiful day today. It was probably our first beautiful day in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was stuck in work though.
That stinks. I was home all day, and it was a beautiful day here. I think it's going to get a little colder. We had these crazy tornadoes the last couple
Yes.
days over here. I'm in Tennessee, and uh, there was like this spot on the map, and they said it was coming right for us. You know what I mean? Like it was hitting in
Okay.
Missouri, Arkansas, and all that. And then these watches come up, and they color like an area all around me, and all of a sudden just my county and the one next to it where Nashville is was like not under the watch. And I'm like, okay, prayers worked. It's been crazy, but really, really sad for a lot of people lost their homes, and
Yes.
some loss of life. I think it
Another.
was like
It's another
37
bad
people.
tornado. Because you had a really bad tornado last year, right? Was it
Two,
in the summertime?
no, 2020, we had a really bad tornado hit my town. It wiped out the middle school,
Oh,
wiped out a whole series of homes. It was terrible. It was
wow.
terrible. And there's like 30.
2020? That 5 years ago?
Yeah, March of
Wow.
2020. Yeah, it flew. And by the way, it wasn't just one tornado. There was like a lot of tornadoes on the ground. I mean, and we had one just
Yeah,
like 20
right.
minutes south of us, and it did a lot of damage in a town just about 20 minutes. Actually, Murfreesboro. And you know who lives
Mhm.
in Murfreesboro since we were a true crime podcast? Casey Anthony, who killed her little girl,
Really?
Casey. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
she moved to a town south of us, and I'm like, ooh, that's not good. And I know where she works. I'm not going to say it live because I still have a
Right,
respect
right,
for people's privacy. But
right.
she works, like I could walk into her work, and it's a public type of job that she has. And
Okay.
I could go see her right now if I wanted to.
Hmm.
Crazy. Anyway, hit the subscribe button. And today we're talking about Karen Reed.
Good.
Remember
Yes.
Karen Reed?
I I love. I'm not that I love what's happened, but this is a good case because it's
It
one of
is.
those. Yeah, I obviously, I'm probably gonna say now. I'm definitely for Karen, and I just think she was wrongly. Oh, you too. Look at that.
Oh yeah,
I think
I'm
she was.
all pro Karen Reed. Yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I
Say why
think
you
that
think she.
I think that they are definitely trying to frame her, because they don't want to take the responsibility. I think it was like, well, let's get into it and then we can talk about like really
Yeah.
why we think what. So,
Well, let me give you the
but
news today because she was back in court today. There's a pretrial
right.
hearing today, and Judge Beverly Canoni, she's a piece of work. So the trial starts in 2 weeks, and basically the takeaway from today is that the judge found that Karen Reed's defense lawyers misled the court about their expert witnesses from ARCCA, ARCCA, and they are basically the company that specializes in crash reconstruction. So
Okay.
while it's normal for lawyers to pay expert witnesses, the problem is that in Reed's first trial, jurors were led to believe that the ARCA experts were independent in thought and had no connection with the defense team whatsoever. So they were considered neutral,
Right.
and the special prosecutor argued that the defense intentionally created the impression that the experts had no bias, no financial interest, and no collaboration with the defense, which is now we know is, at
False.
least according to the judge, she feels it's not true. So,
Well, they do have a legit check that was cut to them. So,
They do. Right.
yeah.
Exactly. And then there's, and this is based on Rule 14 violation. It's a legal rule that requires both sides to share key evidence with each other before the trial. And the judge ruled that the defense failed to do this properly. So slap on the wrist for them. Okay. So what's the takeaway from that? So part of it's kind of concerning. So yes, they misled the court. We know that. And that is a serious issue. You're not supposed to.
Hmm.
That makes Karen look really bad, right? And her whole
Right.
defense
It
team.
does. Right.
Um, but here's the thing: the judge did not remove them from the case, and is also allowing the ARC investigators to continue to testify in the trial in the next 2 weeks because she was like, "Well, we're 2 weeks out from this trial, and I'm not going to have this trial get messed up." So I'm going to let them go ahead and testify just as usual, which is great for Karen, except it's going to be made known to the new jury that this...
As it should.
Yeah.
As it should.
It should. It should. And I worry about that for her. She also gave her the option, do you want new lawyers? You know, because she has to be asked that question, do you want new lawyers?
Right.
And she said, no. So...
I mean, honestly, like, I could see how that is, you know, against her in the sense that now the jurors are going to know that they were paid by the defense. But honestly, like, she has to defend herself. So if you need to get special, you know, a special organization to prove your innocence and you have to pay for it, okay, you know, pay for it. I don't think that's so off the wall, and I really doubt that people are like, oh, you know what? I know information. Please let me come and take my day off of work to go testify for you to defend you and not get anything out of it. You know,
right?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, that's their company. This is what they get paid for.
So, with all that, the defense's credibility is kind of shot. You know, I mean, I don't know to what degree that they're going to think it's shot, but it hurt their credibility. They can bring this up. The prosecution can bring this up later to make the jury doubt Karen Reed's team. And also, if convicted, she could try to appeal by saying her lawyers were dishonest and ineffective, which would help her. So she's kind of got like a get out of jail free card, I guess. I don't know. And the judge did not remove the defense team because it could lead to long delays or retrial later. So that's why all of this mattered today. And, you know, let us know what you guys think about what happened in court today. I have not been a fan of this judge. I don't like this judge. I think she is extremely unfair with so many things. But anyway, let's add to that there is a brand new series, docuseries that just came out yesterday, I think it is. And it's on Max. Okay. And it is called... the trial of Karen Reed, A Body in the Snow. And I did watch it. And it's extremely interesting. And it's basically her testimony. I mean, they said, why are you doing this? And she said, well, because I never get to say my side, which is not really true because there was already another documentary about it. But and she was speaking on that. But she wanted to really give her side of it.
Through who, though? What other documentary? I mean, I know that she's been on
I don't remember no, there's another show on her. I don't know. Maybe it was a 48. Maybe it was like a 48.
Like hours. A TV show kind of, right.
Yeah. And it was like a 2-parter. Right. So far there's 2 episodes up and I'm assuming because I watched what's there that there's more coming out every week. Like when they release an episode once a week or something like that. I'm assuming because it ended incomplete. What?
Oh, really? Okay. Well, maybe because they're doing that to, you know, hook people and then they're going to watch the trial come April 1st and, you know, maybe she'll tape as it goes. Yeah. I don't know.
Wait a minute.
That'd be interesting.
That was weird.
We haven't seen that in a long time, kind of like live broadcast. What?
Something's weird.
What?
I don't know. Something's weird. I'm just noticing something. I don't know what happened. Something's not right. You know what? Text Tony. All right. And make sure that he sees us okay. Can you guys see us all right? Because actually, that is weird. It's showing a delay or something. And if it's a delay, it's just starting now. That's so weird because I have it up on my phone. But anyway, okay. But I can't. But the problem is my record button and everything is not here. And that's just really, really strange. Yeah.
It's not where it always is, you mean?
Yeah. Oh, no. It says we're live. Okay. I'm just going to keep going. It says we're live. So just, you know what?
It says you're live on my side.
Yeah. But you know what? Over here, I can see our show is just starting now. And that's an awfully long delay. And I've never seen it delayed that long. So they're way behind us, which is odd. So our comments are going to be really weird. They're going to, I see you, he says. Okay.
Hey, Rob.
That's really strange. I don't know what's going on. All right. So back, I'm sorry if I diverted. So back to Karen Reed. So her trial starts in 2 weeks, and I thought we would go over some things about her trial again, and let's walk through some things. So everybody knows that she was accused of backing her SUV into her boyfriend John O'Keefe in January of 2022. The first trial happened in April 2024, ended in a mistrial. I'll get into that a little more, but I'm going to start from the beginning a little bit.
Okay.
So, and there might be some new stuff in here that nobody's ever heard, so that would be cool.
Hey, you never know.
You never know. So, fresh eyes. So she was 44 years old, single, never married, a lecturer at Bentley University, and she was dating a Boston police officer, John O'Keefe. She, quote unquote, says in the documentary, the new docuseries, that there is a 0 chance that this was an accident. She claims she participated in the series to give her testimony, and she feels she hasn't been able to say what truly happened. So this is like supposed to be like the real deal here.
Right. It's like her being up there.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
she's accused of hitting her boyfriend with her car, leaving him to die in the snow. Okay. And then one of the famous quotes from this trial is that she said, I hit him, and made the mistake of saying that. And, with all that, there's butt dials at 2:00 in the morning. There's not one single witness that saw this when it happened. And combined with that, you've got people that's cheering this woman on. She's developed this huge following of support started by this guy called Turtle Boy who was on YouTube. And he decided to go ahead and investigate the case. And he was the one who came up with the whole thing about the Alberts and stuff. So I'll when I get to Turtle Boy, I'll mention that. But she's born and raised in Massachusetts. She's a middle child. She loved to do like home videos of plays, and she would narrate family videos. Her dad was super supportive of her, even now through the last trial. So now, as far as John O'Keefe, he's described as funny, loyal, and very generous, and he was an amazing uncle to his niece and nephew, and then kind of took custody of them when he lost their parents, which was John's sister and her husband, and they like died one after another really quickly.
Right. Almost like they were so close you can probably classify as broken heart syndrome.
Oh, right.
It's not, but it was that close. It was close.
It is so sweet when you see like a family member like to take that on, especially like a young single guy, right? And I'm just going to show another picture of them again.
Because they could have went to the grandparents. They weren't like, 80s.
No,
grandparents.
There wasn't even like a question. Like some people be like, let me think this over. I'm young. I've got my whole life in front of me. And I don't know if I want to take on, taking care of these kids and everything. And it was like no questions asked. Snap your fingers. Of course I'm going to take them. That's how much he loved his sister and his family. So I just think that's so admirable.
His sister died of cancer, and he brought his sister to like almost every appointment. So, he was invested. I mean, other than just being the brother, so he had that definitely more of a connection with his sister. And how could he not take his niece and nephew?
Yeah,
that makes sense. Right.
What a doll. And I have 2 daughters of my own, and I just know that they would do that for each other. That's how close they are. So I can only imagine how close they were,
Right.
So anyway, John and Karen actually dated for about 2 years between 2004 and 2006. And then when the pandemic happened, they reconnected through Facebook. And she never wanted kids of her own, but she was totally okay with this niece and nephew in the beginning. There are some problems with it, but in the beginning, she's like, hey, I'm on board. So everyone around John also really loved Karen. They literally, up until the moment he died, that's when things changed. Up until that moment, they really liked her. They thought she was a stable, hardworking, good-looking girl for him, and that they had a good relationship. And nobody said boo about her being any kind of killer or anything like that.
Right.
So,
well, they did go on a vacation a month before he died.
And there was arguing and stuff, right?
There's arguing. I think that was, if anything, if there was going to be any negativity, it could have came from that said vacation. But overall, they all got along.
I don't know one friend of mine I don't know, one couple that hasn't gotten into an argument on vacation. It happens to all
Right.
of us,
Well,
right?
apparently it was really bad. It was a really bad argument. Apparently it
Yeah,
was
but I
like,
mean, there everyone has those. So, but like, I'm
yeah,
gonna leave the hotel room, go walk around the resort, and like, go cool off. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it
yeah,
happens to
right,
everybody. So that doesn't even like alarm me or anything because I'm just like, how many of us have been there where you've just like not spoken for like the whole day,
right.
and then finally it's like, we don't know just how bad it
But
was. I mean,
there's also reports where they used to have like small bickering fights,
yeah, but who doesn't
But
bicker? I mean, we all
yeah,
bicker, right? We all
yeah,
bicker.
okay,
So, all I'm saying is that's not to say that maybe there were signs and we don't know the majority of it, but it's not enough for me because so many couples do argue and it
right,
doesn't lead to murder. So I'm just like,
right,
yeah, I'll take that
yeah,
and put that over here because that's not going to be a deciding factor for me. So,
hmm
so our incident happens on January 28th, 2022. They argued in the morning regarding the kids. He felt she spoiled them, like fed them wrong and stuff like that. Basically gave them whatever they wanted, and he was more strict, which is usually
right,
the other way around. Usually the woman is
right,
like, make sure you have your spinach. But I think she
yeah,
was like taking them to like a lot of fast food and stuff like that.
probably,
So after they argued, she basically took off and went to her own house in Mansfield. This is all Massachusetts still. And he was in the Canton, Massachusetts area. Um, and she worked from home that day. And then there was reports of this huge snowstorm, like a big blizzard was coming that night, and she didn't want to be shut in, so she decided to go back and meet John in Canton at a bar called C.F. McCarthy's at 9 o'clock. Now, just before that, she had called her father and told her dad about the fight that they were in, and he begged her not to go and said, "Please, just don't go. Let you both cool off." But she didn't listen. And it's crazy because in the documentary, she talks about how if I'd listened to my dad, I wouldn't be in this situation I'm in right now.
right,
So,
right,
so after McCarthy's, they weren't there that long. They went next door to the Waterfall Bar. And that's when her acquaintance kind of friend, Jen McCabe, and then Brian and Nicole Albert. Brian is a Boston police officer. And then Brian Higgins, who's an ATF agent, he was hanging out there. And I think didn't they have, I forgot about this. Did they have a little relationship at one point or were they just flirty? They were flirty.
between who?
Brian Higgins and Karen Reed, there's something with them. I think
Oh,
they had
I
like
don't know.
they either dated once. I forgot because I haven't done
Okay,
this case in a while. It's been like, what, 8
right.
months? 6 months
I
since
don't
we
know
did
that
this
they were
case?
ever together. Right,
No, no, no. There's something between them. I know that. I'll
right,
get back.
okay,
I'll get back about that. But there's definitely something that went on. There was some flirting going on where like she would like he'd
oh,
stop while she was outside gardening or something like that. I kind of remember it a little bit, and they were like flirting with each other, something like that. So
okay,
there's that tension. Um, so she had met the Alberts the previous weekend. Brian and Nicole Albert. She had met them the previous weekend, so there was a little bit of familiarity of them. Um,
okay,
and she wasn't surprised when after they were done drinking at the waterfall, John told Karen that the Alberts invited them to come back to their house for like a little after party, and they agreed to do that. Everybody was drinking and everybody was intoxicated. Okay. So Karen gets in her car after Jen McCabe gives the address. And at one point, I think John even gets on the phone with Jen to direct how to get there and all that, giving directions. It's at 34 Fairview Drive in Canton. And she says that Karen said that she didn't think it was very inviting of a party when she got there because it was dark and didn't look like much was going on. You ever get to a party and you're like, okay, this is lame. And
yeah,
you
yeah,
send
right,
somebody in to go scope it out and like, let you know if it's worth to even park and go in, right?
right.
So that's what
Because at this
happened
point, it was
basically.
also snowing. At this point, it was snowing. It's cold. It's late at night.
Yeah.
He really wanted to go, and she's like, "Fine." I think she didn't want to go, and that's why she ended up dropping him off.
She was like, she said, all right, I'll go. We'll go check it out. But there was a reluctancy from her. There was like,
Yeah.
she was waiting for the open door to say, let's just go. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, of
Right.
course, she jumped on it when she saw that the house was dark and there wasn't much going on. So, okay. So it seems as if, being that there's no after party, she goes ahead and says go, and then he gets her vodka soda that she was like, so people drink, I guess, around there while they're driving, which is really horrible. She had a vodka soda in the car in a cup holder,
Oh
and
my God.
he took the vodka soda, stumbles out of the car, and heads up to the door. Now it was on a side door. It was like a driveway side door. And he walks right in. She sees him go in, and then she waits a minute and he never comes back. And she's one of these girls from the Northeast. Now you're from the Northeast. I'm from the Northeast, even though I live in Tennessee. We don't, people from the Northeast, they don't beat around the bush. They don't got time for that. They're like, get your butt and get back here. And I'm being kind with my words, okay? Because, potty mouth all over the tri-state area and in the
Yeah.
Massachusetts area.
Right.
So it didn't take her long to start flipping out. So she gets pissed and she calls him and he doesn't answer. So she starts right from that point, leaving a voicemail, yelling at him, what's the matter with you? You're leaving me out here and blah, blah, blah. So she waits 10 more minutes, and then finally she's like, well, I'm out of here, and she leaves. But as she's driving and going home, she is on fire, man. She is pissed, and she's calling him and leaving him voicemail after voicemail after voicemail.
I mean, I believe there was like 46
So many.
voicemails.
And she's
Like
screaming.
ridiculous. Yeah.
And I have
Yeah.
a point to make. I'm going to make about this. So I just
Okay.
really want to concentrate on this for a second. She is screaming into these voicemails, "You're a loser, John. I hate you, John. Da 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 da." She's going on
Yeah.
and on and on. Volatile, like really crazy.
Right.
So, and then the next day, she goes home, goes to bed, falls asleep on the couch. The next day, he's found lying in the snow, face up, at 6 a.m. that next morning. Okay? Now, let me back up. Everyone was told that Karen hit John with her car. Okay, when the EMT showed up and everything. Nobody believed that at first, though. Nobody did. They eventually believed that she was driving drunk and made a mistake, and then it changed to being, she's evil and deliberate. So, like, his family, no way, Karen couldn't do that. And then it became, she must have had an accident. And then it went to, there's something more sinister here. It's just,
Right.
so that's important too, because their first reaction was not to think, how many crimes do we talk about where they're like, I know who did it right away. Because
Right.
I had seen a buildup of fighting or,
Right.
you just, something about that person.
Put it this way. They wouldn't defend, their first answers wouldn't defend her if they had any possibility of thinking that she could have been it.
Right.
At least the way that they're acting now.
Yeah.
They're so adamant that she did it, but yet you defended her at first breath.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that says a lot. It says a lot because, like I said, there's all these crimes that happen that the police show up and they notify their next of kin, so-and-so is dead. And how many times does that person go, I know who did it. Go see this person right away. And because there's none of that here. There's absolutely none of that, So, She gets charged for hitting him with her SUV. And the FBI says that the EMT said that the wounds on his body were consistent with being hit by a blunt object like a vehicle. Okay? They seize her vehicle and her cell phone, and then she was quickly arrested. She had found this guy, Alan Jackson, to be her attorney. And I don't know if you knew this, but her attorney that you see in court with her and all the time, he was Kevin Spacey's attorney.
oh wow.
Yeah, creepo Kevin Spacey. Creepo Kevin Spacey.
Hey, creepo Kevin Spacey is innocent. He was
I don't think
dropped
he's
of all
innocent.
charges.
He
Okay,
was
but I'm saying he was
okay.
dropped
All
of all
right, all
charges.
right. In a court of law, they dropped the charges. But come on,
Yeah.
how many? I don't know what you know about that, but I've watched a ton of interviews from people. He molested boys, and he actually admitted to some of it. Yeah, I was interested, and I went. So that is the biggest a crap.
Right.
That they dropped the charges. All right, we
I'm
got
gonna
to do
double
a
check
Kevin
that.
Spacey.
Where's my phone? Where's my phone? Okay, I'm gonna do a quick Google search
Let
to
me
make
tell
sure
you
that's
something.
correct.
We need to do Kevin Spacey. I'm so glad you brought that up because that would be a
Oh,
really good
really?
Yeah, I would love to talk about him. Kevin
All
Spacey
right.
is a creep. His career is down the toilet because he messed with all these like teenage boys and 20-something men. I will say though, I don't know how those guys, some of them
Oh,
they were like
yep,
they
I was right. He was found not guilty of all 9 sexual offenses charged in London trial, July 2023.
we got to do an episode
You
on
know
him
what it
because
is?
I remember he even
Honestly,
admits to some of it.
yeah. The problem is that you couldn't prove anything. They couldn't, have anything to put against them
No.
other than their word,
It's
other than them saying they were.
yeah. Yeah. But you know
Right.
what? Everyone knows and it shows because his career is shot. You know what I mean?
Right.
Anyway.
And what a great
Uh,
actor too. But anyway, yeah.
oh, brilliant actor. Like I love him.
Yeah.
He's great. Well, I don't love him, but I mean, I love him as
You
an
love him as an
actor.
actor. Right, right.
Yeah. So after immediately seeing the photos of John O'Keefe's arm, the attorney she hired, he said he knew right away it wasn't a vehicle. There's just no way it was a vehicle. He said clearly an animal did that. And everybody knows the famous, the picture with let me pull it up for you guys. Hold on. Hold on. By the way, that's Brian Albert. Hold on a second. Let me switch over and then I'll pull it up. Yeah, Brian
The famous, you
O'Keefe's
said famous
the famous
what? Dog?
the famous picture of his arm where it clearly looks like he was attacked by an
Oh,
animal. You know what I'm saying? Um,
right.
hold on, let me get it.
There were so many things about this case
I know.
that I felt like there's no
Look at
way that
that.
makes sense.
That is not the back of an SUV. That's not injury from an SUV. I'm sorry. Look at that. Those are scratches from an animal. Clearly
And
to me.
they look like puncture wounds.
Like
Like,
could be nails, the nails. And the dog, Chloe the dog, is a big deal in this case because that dog
yeah,
did not like people. Did not like
right.
people. And John O'Keefe didn't know the Alberts that well. So going in their house, all you got to do is open the door and let that dog go loose. You know what I mean? And I'm sure they
Well,
were trained, the dog was trained a certain way. So, anyway, back to Karen. So either you think she did it or it is a really elaborate cover up, right? Which is what I believe. I
right.
believe it's a cover up. Now, being drunk and not hearing back from John when she was making the calls, icy road conditions, all her emotions, it would be very easy for one to think, did I hit him? Did I hit him? I could
Yeah,
totally see somebody doing that. That seems very
right.
normal to me. The police report states that she had hit him, but that's because of her crazed drunken behavior that night. And they simply wrote down what they saw and made a determination on that. Prosecution took to state grand jury first. It was originally manslaughter charge, and then it gets changed to second degree, amongst other stuff, leaving the scene and all
Right.
that. There was a bunch of other charges. Um, so but even if it was a crime of passion, which is really all I think this could be anyway at max, if she was it should only be manslaughter. If it was, the second degree is such BS. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't think they're going after that. A crime of passion. I think they're dropping it. It's
No,
not
but
for
I mean, there's no
sure.
evidence
Oh,
of. I mean, you'd have a better shot with this if you wanted to get her, even though I think she's innocent. You'd have a better shot of trying for a crime of passion.
well,
Manslaughter.
they tried that. They tried doing that with the first trial. They tried
Hmm.
saying, well, they went to, they went on this vacation together and it was, seen amongst the whole family how bad they fought. And so a month later, she wants to kill him. So it's a hard stretch a month later, just because of that, the bad fight in vacation. That's what I mean. The vacation, the vacation argument was supposed to be pretty bad. So
Hmm.
they were trying to link it. But I mean, that's just too far, like,
Yeah.
of a run for me. A whole month.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And
So
it wasn't planned, so I think that's why they went under manslaughter.
in this new docuseries, the attorneys for her talk about this guy Mike, and that's all I know about it. I mean, in the docuseries, they don't give a last name or anything, but some tipster named Mike just calls up and says perhaps someone else did it, and tells him basically to look somewhere else, and to I guess he gave him enough information about the Alberts so that they would go ahead and look towards the Alberts. They ended up having a meeting with that guy in person, and he was not a witness to it. So that is so odd to me. I don't even know who this Mike guy is, but he basically
Right.
was the tipster. So Karen, the new defense is basically that Karen is framed, and that John was beaten inside the home of 34 Fairview, which is the Alberts home. Boston police officer. And Brian Higgins was there, federal ATF agent. And then the body was simply dumped outside. Now, there's another character here, and I have her picture. I'm going to show everybody. I hope Jen McCabe is watching, because this is not the best picture of her. I'm not
Did you do that on
shedding.
purpose?
I'm not showing her in a great light. What do you think
Yeah.
of her
No, you're not.
brows, Lynn? What do you think of those brows?
Uh, I don't know. They're okay. They're okay, but I don't like her eyeshadow.
I think it's all way too dark. Yeah. Well, okay. So Jen McCabe. Who is Jen McCabe? Well, she is a sister-in-law of Brian Albert. So she's sisters with Nicole. I guess the wife is Nicole, I believe. Her phone was taken, and it had a ton of evidence on it. And there's a famous Google search where it's literally typed in
On her
how's
phone.
long on her phone, Jen McCabe's phone. She
Yeah.
did a Google search,
Right.
and it says how's long to die in the cold. But the the complete bombshell, smoking gun of that is that it was done at 2:27 a.m. Okay, the
Yeah.
morning of the murder, which is 3.5 hours before his body was ever discovered. It was also deleted. So this was something they had to uncover because it was purposely deleted. Okay?
Right.
Yeah. That to me is like the biggest
And
part of the
she was
case.
right. She was at the house. She was there. I mean,
Yep.
and not for I mean, I know I don't mean to go off topic in this sense, but like if you see like where they found his body and where the driveway is, like
Mm-hmm.
he would have had I think he would have had to go she would have had to hit him at such a force, and he had to fly, I think it was like 35 feet from
Yep.
the driveway. That's pretty
Yeah.
far, 35 feet.
Yeah.
That's a lot of force. And how much force do you get in doing reverse?
Right.
You mean like you would have to go like, I don't know, 25 miles an hour to quickly bump him to go flying for 35. I don't know. I mean, I'm excited about this trial with this reincarnation of this vehicle, right?
Yeah.
I think that's great.
So, Turtle Boy is the vlogger that I mentioned before. He got involved in the case. He brought so much attention to it and support for her evidence. It is alleged he was the one who first found the leak of the Google search. I don't know how he did that, but
Oh,
they would be he was like getting all these people to do standouts, like picketed signs, yelling in the streets, huge crowds, people chanting
right.
outside the courthouse. And eventually this gets banned, and Turtle Boy gets in some trouble. And then they start wearing pink most recently because it's her favorite color. She said, I don't wear pink, but I love the color pink. So that they could support her, they're all wearing pink now. So the trial had
Cute.
begun. And they had a hard time finding a fair jury because of the media, but eventually they settled on 12. The defense's opening statement basically drilled home that it was all framing and targets Boston PD and the Alberts.
Right.
Now, Jen McCabe's testimony was like a huge part of the trial. And to me, it was the whole trial, just, out. She was out with them that night. She was drinking with them, just like you mentioned before, invited them back, guided them to her house. Her testimony pretty much changed everything, right? And then at the waterfall, Brian, Nicole, Julie, Chris Albert, Jen, and Matt McCabe, and then Brian Higgins were all there. Jen testifies that Karen had been talking about how tough it is taking care of his kids. She said that in her testimony, the niece and nephew, setting up something about them having some sort of problem, right? That you need to create a problem between John and Karen for this all to make sense. So, of course, she's going to try to add something to that by saying, oh, well, she wasn't happy taking care of his kids. Jen left at midnight, okay, and then invited them back. So Jen is in the house, and she sees Karen's car in the roadway right in the front, and she texts him to pull behind her car. And her testimony is that he never replied back. And she just figured they decided not to come in, and Karen goes home around 1:30 is what she's saying. And she ends up going home as well. And Karen says that when she left John at the Albert, she immediately started calling and yelling, and she thought he was maybe having an affair. That was also in her yelling. You're having an affair on me, you're cheating on me, all that. Okay, so people, anyone listening to me that thinks Karen Reed is guilty, I want to say this. Nobody I know in their right mind that has any intelligence would make those calls, screaming and yelling and berating and cursing him out if you just killed him. You would not do that. It would only, the police would get their hands on those voicemails and it would only draw attention to her. Why would she be like killing him and not being like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that. Oh, I'm going to go home. I'm going to pretend I wasn't with them, or I'll just go to sleep and I'll have this big alibi or whatever. Instead, she calls the guy that supposedly she intentionally kills and is like, screw you, John, and blah, blah, blah. Nobody would do that. Can we just...
I mean, I can understand if they said that she did it unintentional. You know, I could see that happening unintentionally. But just the other facts of it doesn't pan out to be unintentional, because everything that they came up with, like the tail lights, debris not being there the day they started looking for evidence when they swept it that day. And then all of a sudden it shows up on their lawn 2 days later. You know what I mean? 2 days later, it shows up on their lawn. All this extra. There's just so much evidence that just out of nowhere just surfaced. Like, wait, what? You know what I mean? And it doesn't make any sense.
No.
And I know that the McCabe's, who owns the house again?
The Alberts.
The Alberts end up, it's also been said that the Alberts redid their basement floor.
Yep.
A couple days later.
Yep.
And I don't know about you, but like, what investigation that they did not decide to go inside that house? He was in the party. He was there. But I mean, they could turn around and say like, well, we never knew that he didn't come in. We didn't. He wasn't inside. But still, how do you still not go in? I don't get it. That doesn't make any sense.
What do you think of this? And I know you'll remember this, but let's put ourselves in the Alberts' shoes, okay? Let's say we're in bed because they were sleeping, right? Apparently, their story is they were sleeping. And
during the party?
No. The next morning,
around
the time. Oh. No. The body gets found. Karen and Jen and Carrie, they all pull up in their car. They call the EMTs. Right. There's all this crazy noise outside. There's sirens. There's people everywhere. And they don't come outside. As a homeowner, if there was a body on your front lawn and there are police everywhere, wouldn't you put on a robe and slippers and walk outside and go, what is going on, people?
I mean, there's people outside your door. I'm sure there's police officers with their lights on. And if their lights weren't on, why was their lights not on? You know what I mean? And you just have commotion out there. I'm sure you hear people. You hear the ambulance. There's no way the ambulance came without its lights on or the sirens that you don't walk outside your door. There's just so many, it just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense.
I think
real quick. And their bedroom is in the front of the house.
Oh, yeah. All the way on that one corner. Right. Absolutely. And Boston PD or Canton PD Canton PD shows up. They obviously all know each other. Police officers know each other. They're friends. They hang out. They've got like this bond that nobody else has. You know, we all know that. Especially the guys from that up in that area. Okay, so police are on the scene.
The OG.
I know. Police are on the scene. I have no doubt in my mind that they were on the phone with Brian Albert through the whole thing. Stay inside. Stay inside. Don't you come out here. They were protecting him. They were protecting each other. Yeah. And I really think that they were setting this whole thing up. So I have more about the scene I'm going to get into. So Karen, okay, so she had her story is she fell asleep on the couch until 4:30. And when he didn't come home, she called again, crying and shaking. And there is a voicemail of her saying, "Where are you?" Right?
Right.
Karen then calls Jen McCabe screaming, "John didn't come home." Okay. Then Jen says, "Well, we saw you outside at the Alberts," and Karen didn't even remember that she was there. And she told her that she had a cracked taillight and this is Karen talking to Jen now on the phone. She told her, "I have a cracked taillight and could I have hit him?" Okay. Then Karen becomes even more frantic. Jen asks her to come pick her up. And she also calls her friend Carrie Roberts at 5 a.m. That really Carrie's a friend of John's more than Karen's. Carrie says that Karen said to her, "John is dead." And Karen says that she actually said, "What if he is dead?" Okay. Then they all go to Jen's and they get into one car. They go back to John's at Carrie's suggestion. And Karen doesn't like this. She's like, "I just came from there. He's not there. Why are we going?" No. So I want to point that out right there, because Jen and Carrie, if Jen's in on it, which I think, then Carrie by this point might have known something too, right?
Right.
So they're trying to keep her from coming to find the body by saying, "Oh, Karen, come on, we'll just go back to John's house and wait for him there." Because I think at that point, they didn't know, they were scared out of their minds. They got a dead body on the front lawn, right? So they get to John and Karen's house, and they're all running through the house. They're looking around and everything. Karen's like, "What are we doing? He's not here. We need to go back to the Alberts house where I last left him." Right? Finally.
And why was she? It's so annoying. I really wish. I just wish she just put her foot down more. But go ahead.
It bought them some time. It bought them some extra time. And I have something to say about buying the extra time too, because I think I came up with something that nobody said before, and it's towards the end. But okay. So they all go and back to the Alberts house. Okay. Now, before they get in the car to go to the Alberts, Karen willingly up front goes, "Look at my taillight. It's broken. What's going on? Do you think I hit him?" Okay. Again, somebody who purposely did something or even knew that they had accidentally hit him wouldn't be like, "What's going on? Why is my taillight broken? Did I hit him?" Nobody would say that. Nobody would say that.
Nobody points out. Nobody would point that out.
Yeah, I would be like, "Oh, yeah, keep walking, get in the car. Don't look at that car." You know what I mean?
I would be like, Jen would be like, "Come pick me up." "Okay, but I'm going to take John's car because it's better."
Yeah,
my car at home.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's no attempt to hide it, to cover it up. How many times do people have a broken window? You see them driving down the street next to you to have a broken window or a broken, and they put tape on it, or they put a big thing on it, or something.
Actually, there's video of her taillight before that day, that night, and it was just it was broken, but it wasn't smashed. Like didn't have a smashed look to it.
Right.
But after the car was taken to the impound, after the police impounded it, then it was all of a sudden smashed.
Oh, I know. There is a progression of deterioration of that taillight long after they had taken it. It's not very very suspicious.
Yeah.
Okay, so so they get to Fairview, right? And she says, "Look, he's right there at the edge of the property." And Karen is the one who points this out, nobody else. Now, the girls, they say that they didn't see him at all at first. But Karen goes out, gets out of the car, and their testimony is she ran right to him as if she knew where he was and he was not easily in sight. While Karen's like, I saw him, no problem, right?
Right.
But that's them saying, well, she had to have known she had to have done it to know exactly where to run to, right? Anyway, this is something I think Karen says. When I got to him, he had a cut on his face and a piece of glass stuck in his nose. She pulls the shard of glass out and it gushes blood. His eyes were purple. One eye was split with dripping blood, and she tried CPR and she heard gurgling. Okay, I have so much to say about that. There's so much in that. Okay. I don't know if you know this, but when somebody is deceased, they do not bleed anymore. Blood doesn't gush. Okay?
Right.
Okay.
But you know why, right? Because your heart's not pumping it.
Your heart's right.
Not pumping. Right.
Exactly. So taking that shard out, blood gushing, tells me that he was either recently deceased or he was still on his way because she had heard gurgling, right? She says she heard gurgling when she was doing CPR.
Okay, but didn't the autopsy report state that he died like earlier in the morning?
I don't believe anything in the autopsy report because they were all tied into what these cops and everything. I don't believe any of that. So,
okay.
Blood only gushes when you're alive, but for it to be established by Karen, it's established by Karen's phone and the women that she was not with John. Okay, because she was home sleeping till 4:30. Her phone shows she's home sleeping till 4:30. And the women agree that they got together first and went to John's house first and all that. So Karen's not around. So if he's died recently or he is currently dying, Karen couldn't have done it because that blood gushing says that he is still alive or just passed away. Because there can be you can die and that heart can still do some things for a while you're, after you've died for a little bit.
Right. But actually, I'm wondering, what is the answer to Jen McCabe's Google search? How long can you last in the snow?
All I think about is that song that I wrote every time. That song I wrote about her, but how long?
Yeah.
What is the what? What's your question?
What's the answer to Jen McCabe's Google search?
Go ahead.
How long?
Search it.
What was it? I'm going to search it. What was the question? How long?
How long is it to die in the cold?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so that with the fact that someone could not survive lying there that long in a blizzard without dying tells me that he was more recently killed. Blood doesn't gush in a deceased person. So, and we know that Karen was not around John in the last couple hours.
Right.
And that is validated by Jen McCabe and Carrie because they spoke to her on the phone. Her phone records show she was still at her house up until 4:30.
Yeah. But they're just saying that the reason why he's even on the snow was because she put him there.
Okay, but listen. So if she hits him, I'm hypothetical now. If she hits him with the back of her SUV between 1 and 1:30, and then he gets hit, he's laying in the snow bleeding, and they don't find him till 6, and his blood is gushing, he would have died already. Well,
listen, it says here
blood gushed out.
Hyperthermia can occur in about 10 minutes, and then death can occur under an hour.
Okay, right. I don't know if you're following me here. Let me say it again.
I mean, define gushing. She could be just being dramatic,
I know. Hello. No. Listen again. If she hit him with the SUV and Karen's responsible and he's lying in that snow, dying, he would have been dead within the first 30, 45 minutes, maybe. Let's say an hour. Okay. He would have been dead in that
2.
All right. Even if it's 2, that would be 3:30. Okay. She's home as per her phone records till 4:30.
Right.
And She hears him gurgling while she's giving CPR, and she sees blood coming out after she takes the shard out. That doesn't jive. It just doesn't. Do you see that?
I hear what you're saying, but who's to say she really heard gurgling?
Well, that's if you want to believe her.
Yeah.
That's if you
You're
want to
right.
believe her. I'm not saying it's set in stone, but So, also the women yelled at her not to touch him or roll him over. Who does that? Why don't you want to help? Why wouldn't any woman want to touch and like roll over their man who is laying there? I would be all over that. I'd be like, shaking him. Are you okay? The girls were
she doesn't know that
encouraging.
he's dead. Yeah.
But right, exactly. The women didn't know what was wrong with him either. When I say the women, I mean Carrie and Jen McCabe are standing there and they're like, don't touch him, don't roll him over. That tells me they knew that he was dead and they just didn't want her to figure that out. Right?
And actually, he was laying on his phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, didn't they track the phone to show what time it ended? Right? Do we know anything about that?
About tracking his phone? I don't know anything about his phone off the top of my head right now. It's such a big case. And I don't know if I ever knew that in the last one that we did on Karen Reed. I don't remember the phone for his phone.
Yeah, because he was laying on his phone.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to look that one up.
Okay, so they yell at her not to roll him over. Jen went to the car and made a call to 911. First responders arrive. Karen is screaming for help, saying, "Is he dead? Is he dead?" She's really frantic. There's video footage of that somewhere. A police officer at the scene calls for more help, saying John O'Keefe has trauma to the head. And Jen said that she said, "I hit him 3 times. I hit him, I hit him, I hit him." Several first responders also testified in the first trial saying that she said, "I hit him." Karen said, "Could I have hit him?" And because of alcohol consumption, it could have come out in many different ways. But she says there's no way that she had said, "I hit him." Now, on cross-examination, the defense got all these first responders that testified this to say that "I hit him" is nowhere in any of the reports. The police reports, nothing. No one's initial accounts ever say she said, "I hit him." That would be the first thing, right? Where do they send her? Do they put her in handcuffs? She said, "I hit him." Do they put her in handcuffs and bring her to jail? No. What do? They sanction her. They bring her to a mental hospital to get checked out. Well, they bring her to, right. I'm sorry, they bring her to the hospital for a mental eval. Let me rephrase that. I don't want to say they brought her. Are there even mental hospitals anymore?
And she was there for hours.
Yeah. So if all these people that came in and testified in the first trial that said, "Oh, she was outright saying I hit him," they would have arrested her right on the spot. Instead, they let her go. That doesn't make sense. Yeah. And they bring her and they try to get her head checked because I think they didn't know what to do with her at that point. I think there were police talking to the Alberts on the phone saying, they were confiding in each other. "Okay, we had a problem with this guy. We beat him up." I'm letting my imagination roll right now.
Right. I think they're trying to buy time.
Yeah. And the first thing didn't come in their mind. The first idea did not come into their mind. "Hey, let's pin it on her." I think it was like, let's make her seem like she's crazy right now. Bring her down to the hospital and give her a mental eval and we'll figure out how we're going to do this. And then slowly but surely they realize, well, the only way we're going to get out of this is if we blame it on her. Do you know what I'm saying? So,
real quick too, it says here, it's called the death rattle. Usually happens while you're dying, but it does say here actually, I just lost it. Death rattle typically lasts no more than a few hours, but it can continue for as long as 24 to 48 hours.
What can? Blood flow?
No, death rattle. The gurgling is called a death rattle. Oh, the
gurgling, yeah. Now, I have no doubt she heard gurgling. She heard it.
Yeah, but
I believe her.
What I'm trying to say is that it could happen hours after your death.
Yeah.
You still hear the gurgle. Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So, but I don't think that there would be any blood coming out of any orifice of him at 6 a.m. unless he had recently died or had died closer to 6 o'clock.
It's just secretions, accumulations.
But then, by the way, that knocks out the whole Google search at around 2:30, where she's like, how long is it to die in the cold?
What do you mean? What knocks
Because
out?
I was saying the fact that the glass shard was pulled out of his nose and it was blood flow meant that he probably died later. And then that way Karen couldn't have done it because Karen was like on the couch until 4:30. And then with Jen and Carrie riding around trying to figure out what to do. And then they show up at Fairview at 6, right? But if I'm trying to say that he died a lot earlier, that he died later, that he died later, and that way Karen didn't do it, then that squashes Jen McCabe's Google search at 2:30 saying, how long is it to die in the cold? Because her Google search supports him dying around 1:30, 2 o'clock, and then her not, her trying to figure out how long is it to die in the cold, right?
Well,
how long is it to die in the cold?
I think they could have dragged his or put his body there, and then she's just wondering, he's on his way dying. How long is it going to take for him to die in the cold?
True. Like maybe he had been laying there since 1:30 and they were still in the house and trying to figure out what to do, right?
Right.
That's interesting. So the reports say that, quote, I left my boyfriend and he didn't come home is what she said. She also would have been, like I said before, would have been arrested if she had really hit him. Okay. And then she gets the sanction where she goes to get psychiatric help, and they release her pretty quickly too after that. So yeah, everyone is different also when they're in a state of shock, right? And when you've been drinking, guys, do you remember the nights when you would be drinking and there's chaos at 2, 3 in the morning, even with an argument with somebody, or you go to the diner afterwards to eat and everybody's loud and boisterous and nobody's making any sense, or incidents that happen in parking lots. And then you're like, wait a minute, what happened? I'm just saying she was drunk, but so were they. And they were all acting like idiots too.
Listen, nothing good happens after 2 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the morning. There's just no reason. Nothing good happens.
When she gets out of the hospital, she actually went and hung out with John's family right after that. And the brother is quoted as saying, John O'Keefe's brother is quoted, he looks like he got beat up, is what John's brother said. And then the mother turns around and says, no, it looks like he was hit by a car. And that was the moment that Karen said, and she was in the room when this was said, and Karen says that was the moment that I was like, I got to get out of here because they're not going to support me. They're going to turn it on me. So trial starts in 2 weeks. That is pretty much what I got from the documentary. Brand new documentary just came out yesterday, in case you're joining us now, on Max. It was good. It's one-sided, of course, because it's her side. But this girl's being framed, y'all. She's being framed.
One of the things that they were arguing in court that I do know, basically the defense is trying to argue that state of Massachusetts, their expert witness on dog bites, because he submitted some kind of study or whatnot.
Okay.
And they said that there's nothing in his submission that verifies the type of methodology that he used to come up with his answer. Like he didn't explain how he came up with his testing or how he tested his theory. And they said that he's not even a medical doctor, whereas Karen's team, her witness for the dog bite is she's a doctor. She is also a police officer, and she's worked in the ER for like 30 odd years, and actually has worked on cases with dogs in general. So like obviously her witness is fabulous. But anyway, so I know that they're arguing about the vitality, the validity of this witness, right, of this person that they want to use.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what came with that though.
Yeah.
I don't know what
I'm
happened with that. I think she's
um
allowing it. I think she's still allowing both of them to say
um
get on the witness stand.
there's going to be 86 people in the trial, 86 witnesses.
Right.
This is including her dad, and her dad did not testify in the first one. He'll be testifying. I think Michael Proctor might be called again. That's the real creepo that did the really
Right.
embarrassing text messages about her. What a
Right.
jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said terrible things about her body and her anatomy, like, and she has Crohn's disease, I think, or irritable bowel syndrome. She has one of those. So
Right.
they made a reference to her
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 bag. Her bag.
her back.
It's
Oh,
like
come on. Where you go to the bathroom in the back. They
yeah.
made a reference to that. I'm trying to be kind. And that made him look really bad. But they called her all sorts of names. And that guy his credibility is shot. And honestly, Brian Albert and Jen McCabe, I don't know. I think they're going to have a rougher time this time. But I am concerned
Yeah.
about what just happened today in court with the ARCCA investigators. That they paid them and they didn't disclose that. That really stinks for her. And maybe she said when the judge asked her today, do you want new lawyers after all this happened? She was like, no, because actually it's probably beneficial to her. It gives her another shot. If she's found guilty, then she can turn around and appeal. I'm like, well,
Right.
I didn't have a fair, honest representation, but it's really crazy though. I think it's such a plus for her that they're going to still let them testify. They could have said, okay, we're throwing those witnesses out. I mean, so she actually threw her a bone also a little bit.
Which she really rarely does.
No,
I feel.
I can't. Oh, don't even get me started
Yeah.
on Bev.
Right.
Don't get me started
Yeah.
on Bev. So,
So April 1st, I think it starts, right? April 1st?
April, all I know is it's in 2 weeks. I don't know the exact date. I just
Okay.
know it's in 2 weeks from
Okay.
now. All the supporters have to be like 200 feet or more away from the courthourse. And they
Yeah.
cannot have any like words or like, Karen Reed and all that, free Karen Reed or whatever on there. They can't do any of that stuff, but it's a free country.
I'm gonna say, are you sure they're not allowed to? Like,
No,
how is that even possible that they're
I
allowed to
know.
say you could say you have to be 200 feet away, but you have to say you can't hold up a sign to support whoever you want to support.
That's what I'm
That
hearing. And
that
and then
can't be right.
in lieu of that, they're wearing pink to support her. I don't know. Something about not being, they just don't want all that chaos outside the courtroom. I mean, you can't, I will say this, it is kind of annoying that like you pull up in your car for your case or your trial and Karen doesn't mind because they love her. But all these other people can't even walk into the courthouse.
Well,
It's
no, they
kind of
make room for them
disruptive.
to walk. It's disruptive. They do make room for you to walk, but regardless,
Yeah.
like that's just wrong. You should be
Yeah.
allowed to.
I am really curious because like the free Karen Reed, the free Karen Reed movement was really hot last year. Like everybody was jumping on free her. I'm wondering, has like an overall blanket statement, has anybody like changed their mind about her? Like I'm wondering, is it
Mm,
still like a hot topic? Is everybody still all on that or is it getting old? I mean, I'm still with her. I don't think that she
well,
hit
it was
him.
smart for
I
her to
don't.
release this video or this little clip
Yeah.
before, though. Then,
Yeah.
you know.
My worry is that she can be a little brash when she talks and she can sometimes
Well,
be a little
that's
too
her.
overconfident. I know it's that whole Northeastern thing
It's
that we
that
all
air.
know
Yeah,
so
yeah, we
well.
get it, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we know a couple people that if they were on trial for murder, they would just blow it with their mouth. You know who I'm talking about too.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
a couple of them.
Yeah, I mean, she just needs to lay low and be cool and not go get over the top with, her little celebrity status she's got going. That's the only thing that worries me because I'm with her. I
She
believe you. A lot of people believe you.
right.
Just chill.
She's never shown that kind of like righteous. She's always been so kind and always
She is
saying
very
thank
kind.
you, you know?
She
She always
is.
is constantly saying thank you for your support. She's never like, oh, excuse me, I need to walk here. You know what I
No, I
mean? Like it's
know.
never
No,
like that attitude.
I don't want to sound like I'm against her because I'm not. I
Right,
really
right,
like
right.
the woman. I think she's, and I think she's
Well,
innocent.
you're saying lay low, but I don't think she's
Sometimes she
been so, yeah.
smirks, and sometimes she has a smirk about her, or she'll smile in a certain way where it's like a little too ultra confident. And if I was her attorney to help her, I would say I would be a little more just
Like
monotone.
soften that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
just soften that.
that actually the front cover of that Max show that you just posted, put it back up. Put it
Okay.
back up real quick. You can see the smirk in her face.
Yeah.
There it is.
It's a
But
little,
I think that's her resting face. You know what I mean?
yeah, she's got RBF. And she's a beautiful woman, but she's a little hard looking. She's got a little bit of
Yeah.
a hardness to her. Um,
But she can't smile.
Here she looks
But
cute.
Yeah, but she can't be having a picture about murder trial and she's smiling. So she kind
Right.
of has to have that. Kind of have to have that smirk.
Yeah. Now the Jen McCabe, she's another story. She would never make it. She would never make it. She would be like guilty as charged immediately. I mean, because she just But so yeah,
Interesting.
guys, I would love to hear what you have to say. Go ahead and post below. Hit the subscribe button and share and like the page. I'm thinking that we're also doing Jodi Arias, which is an old case, but we're
Right.
rewalking it, and it's so interesting because Juan Martinez is my favorite attorney of all time, and that is the most epic cross-examination I've ever seen in my life. And you're gonna love it, or maybe you won't. Maybe you'll hate him.
We'll see.
I'm taking bets. Who wants to bet me that Lynn is either gonna love Juan Martinez?
I
hate
think I'm
him?
gonna love it because he's gonna remind me of like the movies. Because I feel like when I watch these crosses, it's just very monotone. They're just asking questions. But when you watch it in the movies, they have it with such passion.
Yeah.
Did you?
I tell you.
I told you. Yeah.
Answer me. No, he is from start to finish, like bam, 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 and you just watch Jodi, like she is so smirky, like and I'm not saying Karen Reed is, she's not, but I mean, if we want
Right.
to talk about somebody who smirks and is like really thinks she can outwit Juan Martinez, it starts off that way, and she really
Ooh.
she goes back to battle with him in this cross-examination. She goes to battle with him.
Okay.
And I don't want to listen to the direct because it can drag and it's long and everything. So when you're working, I want you to listen to the direct on that.
Okay.
And then when we get to the cross-examination, it won't be, you'll know what Juan Martinez is doing a little better.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
So,
Yeah.
that's it for today. And
Yay.
we keep doing this, and at this point, it's just because we want to give you the heart sign because we love our viewers.
Okay. Because I'm saying it's not gonna work.
No, it does. It's not going to work, but we love our viewers. We love you guys. Hit the sub button, share and like us, and that's it for our show today.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
And you guys have a great night. Bye. Take care.
Bye, Carolyn.
Bye.
Love you.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the hosts and guests. All individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.